Over the weekend, the NTA, led by Gary Griffith, announced several more candidates, and it's my pleasure to have a couple of them on this morning. I'll allow them to introduce themselves and to tell us the constituencies that they will be representing the NTA. And let's begin. Ladies first. I haven't spoken to this lady in a long, long time. It's nice to have you back on. Let me allow you to introduce yourself and tell us about the constituency that you're in charge of.
Good morning, Satesh, and good morning to all your listeners and viewers this morning. My name is Christine Newallo-Hosein, and I'm the custodian for the constituency of Toco, Grande.
Yeah, let's continue. Gentlemen.
Pleasant good afternoon to everyone listening. My name is Dr. Kevin Sarran, and I represent the constituency of San Fernando West, National Transmission Alliance.
Yes. And our third guest.
Okay, pleasant good morning, Satish. Good morning to all your viewers on 106.5. My name is Jaizinho Rigsby, better known as Jazzy. I'm the custodian for Arima.
Yeah.
For the constituency for Arima.
It's with keen interest you've been looking on at some of the developments with the NTA. And the NTA seems, from what we are seeing in the public domain, very active and preparing itself for a general election to come whenever the election comes. Now, I had conversations with the political leader, Gary Griffith, just after he made the announcement of St. Joseph. And I said to him that he making the announcement that he's going to contest St. Joseph was a political masterstroke because it sets a number of things in motion. St. Joseph, a marginal constituency, there's talk about all kinds of things. And for him to say, well, listen, Gary Griffith going to contest St. Joseph, it set the tone for what the NTA was going to bring, or what it is bringing, rather, to this election whenever the election is called. Let's speak to each of you just a bit individually before we speak about party policies and all those kinds of things moving forward. Christine Newallo-Hosein, no stranger to politics. You served, I correct me, as an MP, and you served as well in the administration from 2010 to 2015. Now, I remember you and your, I don't want to say your story, but some of what you had to confront prior with your son and that kidnapping incident and what he had to go through. And I remember it clearly because of how tragic that entire circumstance was. And I remember when you got into politics, we spoke right in this very same studio, and you were saying to me that, that gave you the conviction to want to make this country a better place. Because of what happened. And so on. And then we had the 2015, the entire scenario there, all that transpired. Didn't really hear much from you since 2015. And now we have you on this platform. Tell us about the decision to join the NTA and to be a front line as a candidate.
Well, we were in government from 2010 to 2015, and I became an MP from 2015 to 2020.
Right.
And my passion has not waned concerning making Trinidad and Tobago great again, if I have to borrow Donald Trump's tagline. But I believe that we can make a difference, and I have supported Gary for a number of reasons. As you would know, that we worked together in government during the period of 2020 to 2015. He has shown himself to be a person who is very passionate about country. He's also very dedicated to the task, committed. And one thing I truly admire about him is that if he says he will do something, he does it. He's not like a politician who will, make promises and don't follow up on it. As a matter of fact, he doesn't make promises. He would commit to whatever that you're asking, that he will give you a response. And that response could be yes, it could be no. But whatever his response is, he is committed to giving you an answer. And I think that is something that is very admirable. It's something that I think people are looking forward to in any politician, that if they give an answer, if they give a response, if they give a commitment, that they will follow through on it. And for that reason, I am under his leadership Not that as I told someone recently, I said I didn't leave the UNC. The UNC chose to separate from me. So it's not one of anger or anything like that. It's just, and that was a decision that was made because I stood against the political leader that Kamala Prasad successor. And it simply was, I did not question her leadership. I questioned the decision that she made was a unilateral decision regarding the Constitution being disregarded when she chose to not have an eternal election. And that was it. So I'm still here. I'm still fighting for the betterment of our country and our citizens.
Why Toco Manzanilla?
For the National Transformation Alliance, as you would be aware, we are interested in fighting for the marginals. We are not asking for any favors. We believe our strength, and we believe that our dedication, our track record. You have Gary's track record. I have a track record. And there are many, you're going to hear of Kevin, you're going to hear of Jazzy. They have track records. And therefore, we feel that we are capable of bringing home the marginals. Toco Grande, for me, there are many reasons. One, it bordered the constituency that I was MP for. And so I am very familiar with the terrain. Also, when I was the Minister of the People and Social Development, I was in Toco actually opening a refurbished home for the aged. And of course, in my capacity as advisor to the Minister of Tourism, we were frequently in Toco, Sangre Grande, because of the fact that we visited the various places that was open to tourism, like the turtle watch groups, Grande, and of course, as a child growing up, we spent a lot of our vacations in Toco. So for me, Toco Sangre Grande is the obvious choice.
Yeah. Let's move on now. The other guest that we have, the other custodian, Dr. Kevin, tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us about this foray. I'm not too sure if you've ever contested elections before, but tell us about this entire NTA and which constituency you're the custodian for again.
Sure. So I'm constituency custodian for San Fernando West.
Right.
And I'm a medical doctor for over 10 plus years. I would say I'm one of the people who were not very instrumental or involved in politics over the last couple of years. I have seen politics, and just like many other young people in Trinidad and Tobago, they see politics as, a group of people who almost inevitably seek their own interests. And that deters a lot of young people from getting into politics. What made me get into politics really was the fact that situations with crime in Trinidad and Tobago was escalating out of hand. There were lack of opportunities for the young people in Trinidad and Tobago, and these things weren't getting sorted. And I pretty much sat on the sidelines waiting, hoping that, somebody would take up the mantle. And after seeing that there wasn't much happening, I realized that, it was that time to step in and to basically offer myself for service to the country.
Well,
so you also asking why San Fernando West? Was that your first question?
No. Yeah, go ahead. San Fernando West. Why?
Yeah, so San Fernando West is something that has always been close to my heart. I actually worked in San Fernando for quite a period of time at the San Fernando General Hospital. In addition to that, I do most of my business in San Fernando. I go to gym in San Fernando. I'm no stranger to San Fernando. San Fernando, also being a marginal constituency, I have had a lot of people reach out to me, particularly asking me if that would be an area of interest that I would be interested in running for. So I threw my name in the ring, and basically I came out of San Fernando West, being at the top of the list.
Yeah. San Fernando West is an interesting constituency for more than one reason. It was at one point in time described as marginal, but Faris Al-Rawi, in 2 consecutive terms, has been able to widen his margin of victory in San Fernando West to almost 3,000 votes. Now, taking what was initially a marginal where you have less than 1,000 votes separating candidates, and taking it to a position where you have about 3,000 votes separating your nearest contender, suggests that San Fernando West isn't necessarily the marginal we once thought it was. And Faris Al-Rawi and the PNM, they've been doing a lot of work. They've unveiled this whole waterfront thing for $1 billion. They're paving almost every single road now. When you check, you drive around San Fernando, because they're paving everything. If you lie down too long, they pave over you. And that's because we know the election is coming and all those kinds of things. So I have no idea who the UNC's candidate is going to be. We know that they're going to field someone. We just don't know who. And chances are that Faris Al-Rawi may run for a third consecutive term. Let's look at that dynamic. Let's just say that Faris Al-Rawi does run for the PNM again. How do you plan to challenge someone as formidable as Faris Al-Rawi?
Sure. And I think the template that he has used so far is pretty much the same template that most politicians who would have had office or held a position in governance would have done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they pave roads, they build stuff, they build structures, and that is something, to be honest, I think that is something that we need to take into consideration as people, young people who are voting. When you build a physical structure, and I'll draw this back into healthcare, for example.
Mm-hmm.
When you build a physical healthcare, when you build, let's say, a hospital or a couple of hospitals, right? These things often require, staff to maintain the hospitals and staff to run the hospitals. I'll give you an example. The Cougar Children's Hospital is roughly newly built a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes almost about 800 people to run a hospital. You're looking at maybe about $20 million a year. These things add to the recurring expenses. And we have hospitals in Trinidad and Tobago that are underutilized and are not functioning properly. So they may get the superficial cosmetic appeal to people that, yes, they build in, the paving roads, they build infrastructure, but those things don't hold well, because that doesn't filter down to the people of San Fernando West.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, there are still unemployment issues happening in San Fernando West. We have a lot of intellectual people there with degrees but can't get jobs. The situation with traffic is still there. There are a lot of issues that they are not addressing. They are simply just building stuff and getting their name on it because they think that is what people want to see.
Well,
but the young people, we are dealing with a new generation of people in politics. These people actually want to hear your ideas and the real policies about how you can improve the economy.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you this.
That are dipping in their pocket.
Yeah, the paving didn't work in Tobago for the THA elections. That's obvious. Because
exactly.
It was done, it was the usual modus operandi. Let's pave this, that, the next, and the other. Build a drain here and there. And Tobagonians rejected that soundly. As to whether or not the same is going to happen in Trinidad, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Let's our other guest, Jazzy, a well-known name, no stranger to politics whatsoever. Some interesting developments not too long ago with you. But let me allow you tell listeners about yourself and your decision, and to throw your hat into the ring in this manner.
Okay, first to be throw the hat in the ring on that NTA ticket, right?
Right.
Right. Now, let me start with my biography. I'll give a small biography. Again, good morning to my fellow custodians. All right, Kevin and Christine, morning to you and your audience, Satish. My name is Jaizinho Rigsby, as you said, famous Jazzy. I grew up in Sherwood Park, commonly known as the Congo. For my educational background, I hold a BSc Management Studies, a Master's in Management as well, from the University of the West Indies. I worked at First Citizens Bank in all capacities in the finance industry, from branch banking, retail, into ICT. And then my last was I was a part-time lecturer tutor in the Department of Economics in the field of mathematics and statistics in all the levels. So I had always intended to work to give back. For me, it's giving back to society. Now, however, that is the first one, that is the bio. And for my, as you said, the NTA and the change. Well, firstly, as you know, Satish, I made my political debut in the Arima, in the local election in Arima Northeast seat, where I contested the seat. And as you know, I won this. We drew on the first recount. I won by one, and then it was I lost by one. And we all know the surrounding dramas that take place. But for me, that is under the bridge. And then, as you know, I was on the Russian slate. I fought for change in the UNC because we felt that the leadership was not carrying the UNC in a capacity to win the next election 2025. Hence, I was selected by Russian slate. Obviously, again, history knows that we lost, and there were certain instances where I felt disillusioned with the party, and as you know, on the 24th of July, I resigned from the party, and I cited ideology, and my ideology of the UNC and myself are crossroads, especially in terms of change, integrity, credibility, and ethical behaviors. There is no bracing of ideas and creativity, and species is continuously suppressed, right? And I resigned, as you know, so the media followed me. Now, my fora with joining the NTA now, I took a rest from the internals and gathered my thoughts. Obviously, other parties came to me and asked me what I was doing. And I think that discussions were nothing formal, but something about Gary. I met Gary in the crime symposium, and he said, Jazz, we talk good and thing. And he said, how you going, Jazz? And I said, good, chief, and everything good. And we shared ideas about politics and thing, as you know. And then I told him I'll get back to him. And then I went to a meeting and spoke to him, and he also spoke to me. And then I was introduced to a person called Tim Timal. He spoke to me, and I think the embracement I got and the atmosphere from the NTA I got was warm, it was welcoming, it wasn't, you now come there, who is this person, who is this man coming from a UNC? No, it was not like that. Gary was really welcoming. He spoke to me on many times, right? And my thing for joining the NTA now was that Gary really wants change, as alluding to what Christine was saying, he really wants change. And I found my policies and Gary's policies was good because he is always advocating for a movement of mature politics, which is very hard in tribalization politics, Satish. And he has allowed me to use my autonomy for ideas. As everybody know, I was with ideas, and I like to build things, I think, outside the box. And Gary said, look, Jazzy, come and let me work together. And so far, Christine, the whole team, the whole NTA team, Marcus, the whole team, I don't want to call names in particular, I don't want to single out anybody, but Christine, Kevin, Gary, his wife, Nicole, they have all embracing. And I think NTA, with the policies I have seen and what we're going to release, will show the population in terms of our transformation roadmap underpinned by our LAMP model, it will bring back Trinidad into the place we want it to be, in addition to getting us to be a 21st century competitive global environment, if that's what you want to see. So that is, in a nutshell, why I am. That brings me to the NT. And then now, finally, Arima. Why Arima? As I noticed here, you asked Kevin about RRE. Well, obviously, you got to know about Penny. Penny is one of the stalwarts in Arima, Satish, right? So to fight Penny, I mean, it's not going to be an easy road. She's a stalwart in Arima. As you know, PNM is strong in Arima. Arima have always been PNM. But I'm Arimian, and I was able to challenge them in the local. And when you bring input, the former the minister of works, the Honorable Colin Input, in and recount, at that time, it says a lot that how important the seat was. So, I mean, taking on that cue, I mean, Arima won change. Right now, I can tell you that Arima has its issues in terms of unemployment. There's a rise in youth vagrancy problem, infrastructure, roads damage usual, human capital development, youth empowerment, business stagnation. So there are limited ones from all these sectors in Arima, and there are limited resources. But what I always tell people is that Arima has always been a PNM stronghold. They governed the corporation for 7 years. The member of parliament is in state. And when you watch the Arima in itself for being a charter borough from since 1888, you realize that nothing is really happening. And people say, Jazzy boy, let me make a change. And I think the time is right now on that NTA ticket. I think it could happen. I mean, I'm not going to say and fool myself and say it will be an easy fight, Satish, but I think the NTA, with the candidates we have good, strong, credible candidates, which I think will put on a good show, and we could make that change. So, for closing, any questions? And anybody want to ask? Well, I'm open to question, but that is my last statement. Cannot take up too much of your time.
Well, it's interesting to hear from all three of your perspectives, and the approach that you have to the various constituencies. because it gives the listener, it gives me, myself, an insight into how you're approaching the thing and whether you're realistic in your approach or not. Because that's an element of politics. You gotta be realistic about what it is you're getting yourself into. And the fight is definitely, it's not an easy one. And the three of you have outlined our constituencies where there are going to be strong battles fought. That's for sure. We often hear, I've been on this program, I was just checking it. Saturday made it 13 years that I was on this show. And over the years, I have heard so many people say they want change. They ain't satisfied with the way things going. They ain't like this one. They ain't like that one. This one ain't working for them. That one, they want different. In every single election that has been held in this country, there is the option for change. But people don't take it. And they go back into their comfort zones of, well, I'll vote for this one and I'll vote for that one because if I vote for anybody else, I'm wasting my time. You know? And we hear that so often. Do you think the NTA, do you all, and anybody could answer, all three of you, has the potential to change that mindset?
I believe so. I believe we do have the ability to change a mindset. And you would see that the political leader, Gary Griffith, taking certain positions, very public positions, he's a strategist. And the thing about it is that he's not in this to lose. He's in it to get government to be able to give good governance. And that is what people are looking for. And with the LAMP model that Jazzy was referring to, it speaks about how we will have, hold leadership to accountability within and without. So that persons can, can judge us, they can measure our performance and begin to ask or demand for whatever changes that they require. We have to look at our constitution, perhaps looking at implementing the right to recall, so that persons now will recognize that they will be held accountable if we do not measure up to the mandate that we give to the people. And so we feel that the change must come from us first by fielding candidates that are credible, as Jazzy indicated and Dr. Sarran, that persons who are credible, persons who will hold each other accountable. And this is where the partnership could have made a difference. And this is where we choose to make a difference. This is where Gary is making very public statements that speaks about, how we will, be held accountable and that we want to be held accountable. Not that we'll do anything for our own selves and at the sake of the people suffering, as it is happening right now with this current administration. We want to be able to make a difference because our future depends on it. Our children, we want to live here. Our grandchildren, I want them to live here. I have not moved out of Trinidad and Tobago. I have not changed my address. I want to live here. And therefore, for us to live here all together, not in a gated community, not with a siren, not with security surrounding me, but living like anyone else, in a society that is free of criminal, activities and that we can have a economic growth and that everybody could prosper.
Anybody else want to add anything to this?
Yeah, sure, I'll add something to that. So one of the things you were asking is why people are basically going to more or less somewhat default to tribal politics at some point in time. And you're basically asking how do we plan to tackle that situation. Well, I want to say that's one of the beauty of going up for the marginal constituencies. There's a delta fraction, meaning the change between what the person that would have won and the person that would have lost. And you will realize that they are not so consistent. The numbers vary and they fluctuate widely. For example, that San Fernando West constituency, the change would have been 2,000, 4,000, 2,000. So the numbers fluctuate. And that's the beauty about going up for a seat like that, because it means that those people are not what you would consider tribal voters. They have the ability to look at policies and weigh their options and what they get in for their money, in other words. And that gives us an advantage going into a seat like that, such that we have the ability to put out policies that will capture their attention. So I think that favors us.
Yeah. Well, the Congress of the People, back in 2007, I think it was able to show that there is the possibility of change. That there are people who are there, and Gary Griffith seems confident that he captures these voters. These people who do not subscribe to what exists and wants something different. I mean, I was actually at Center of Excellence that day when Winston Ducaran announced the Congress of the People, and I saw the crowd and the exuberance and all those kinds of things. Unfortunately, the Congress of the People did not survive the test of time, which is sad, because the Congress of the People could have been what this nation is asking for at this point in time. It didn't happen that way. Gary Griffith seems to be on a trajectory, as he said to us on the program, to reinvigorate those people to want to come out. And I'm assuming that's where he expects the core support to come from. Let's take a couple quick messages. And when we get back, we may not have much more time. I don't know if we'll be able to squeeze in a call or two, but I want to get, we'll wrap up the discussion by me asking each of you this question. Why should people vote for you? And I'll get your responses to that after these messages. If you joined us midway, ladies and gentlemen, we're speaking to 3 custodians announced by the NTA for constituencies. Toco, Sangre, Grande, San Fernando West, and Arima. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking, 3 custodians announced by the NTA for Toco, Sangre, Grande, San Fernando West, and Arima. We just have a couple minutes again. Let me allow each of you, in 1 minute, tell the nation why they should vote for you. Let's start. Ladies first once again.
Thank you, Satish. If you want change, if you want transformation, then the National Transformation Alliance is the party that you should be looking at and telling all your family and friends, this is who you need to vote for. And because we want change, not just change, we want to be held accountable. We want to be able to, for you to measure our performance and to be able to judge us based on what is our track record from the past, because we have a track record, and to be encouraged that if we did it already, we can do it again.
Yeah, Dr. Kevin.
Oh, thank you. So I would like to say that, I'm a very young person. I think my voices and views resonate with a lot of young people, particularly in the region of San Fernando West. I'm no stranger to voicing my opinion, particularly for those issues that affect most of Trinidad and Tobago. And this is clearly outlined in a lot of my social media content that I put out. I express very strong views about the system, and the system definitely needs to change in Trinidad and Tobago. And there's a saying, if we continue to do the same thing over and over again, we should expect the same results. So for those people looking for change, National Transformation Alliance is definitely the way to go.
And to the custodian for Arima, Jazzy, let's hear from you. Why should people support you in this election that's to come? I'm not too sure if Jazzy is still with us. I'm not hearing him. So
you hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, we're hearing you now.
Okay, yes. Yeah, I heard your question. I'm satisfied. So let me wrap up in a minute. I have been Arimian for all my life, and Arima is a very clannish culture, and Arima has seen great development in sports, research, academic something, and they know what I want, and my constituents spoke to me, they know what I want, and I have to try to find a way to give them it, and I'll try my best to give them it. I know the journey in Arima will be tough. It will be, I'm not going to say it wouldn't be tough, but I tell the people and all, if you give us the NTA chance, we will bring something called accountability and transparency. I say something called it because that don't exist in this country. Accountability, transparency, performance metrics, evidence-based decision making, climate change mitigation in small quarters, because it's about, we have to stabilize the economy first to get people trying food, the bread and butter issues, and then we have to look at that. But the NTA, I think if you give the NTA your vote, you will see a difference. Okay, so that is the minute I want to wrap up. And again, at this point, juncture, I want to thank everybody for listening and all your supporters. Thank you for supporting me, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, you all just announced on Saturday. I don't know if you've been engaging in walkabouts or those kinds of things, but I know that kind of activity is going to start now.
Right, yes.
It's going to heighten moving forward. So
I am, well...
Yes?
Go ahead. I have right now. I'm trying to form back my team from in the local and always support me the internals. We know when I have a meeting and start how we going and get a product that is different from all the other products, because I believe in somebody doing something different. As you say, it's the same thing when you go by people, it's the same talk. So that is why I'm trying to get a product for each demographic.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we won't be able to take calls, but I'm sure that we'll have more discussions because there is a lot more to discuss. And there seems to be a lot of time because we have no idea when the election is going to be. It's definitely not going to be in December, that's for sure. So thank all three of you for being here with us, giving us this insight and perspective. And I'm sure that we'll chat again.